Hey everyone, welcome to the market recap for December 18th. We had a pretty bloody day today after the FOMC announcement. They simply reduced rates, Fed funds rates, by 25 basis points as expected, and the market proceeded to sell that news. Jerome Powell was a little more, um, I guess his words were a little more bearish because he did sort of telegraph that rate cuts would uh, not necessarily happen as much or as fast as we would like next year. Inflation is a little higher. So, whatever the case, the market did sell off after that. Took about 2 hours the last day to get this huge move right here. We broke a lot of support levels pretty swiftly, and we stopped short of this horizontal support. I've said in previous videos that these low volatility stair stepping up sort of markets they do make me kind of squeamish. So I'm kind of um, nervous almost because these big drops, elevator down days, tend to happen after a period of this. You just never really know when it's going to happen. So I have been practicing just taking profits on the way up and securing capital as much as I could. And so today, if you were in the Discord, you saw probably a lot of alerts or a lot of pings from me, just indicating I was closing out positions, protecting capital, stopping myself out of a lot of positions. I almost went full portfolio stop out, just almost flattened everything to go into cash, but I I stopped short of that. There were some positions that I opened today that I didn't want to close just to not have them be day trades, and some other positions were short puts where I would have been comfortable buying those shares anyway at a certain price. So we'll get into that. Kind of zooming into the lower time frame, we had these two huge hour candles and continued to sell off a little bit, but now we're rebounding a little bit. But I don't really take this into account very much. It's just low volume sort of profit taking. Um, we'll see pre-market tomorrow how the market reacts. Bitcoin also sold off. So I talked about yesterday about that hourly squeeze potentially firing short, and we got exactly that. Pretty decent, actually, head and shoulders pattern showed up on this hourly, and we broke that neckline and swiftly went down. Um, the the textbook way in which I project the the target of a head and shoulders breakdown is I simply take the distance from the top of the head to the neckline, and then I just project it 100% from the neckline down. Okay, pretty straightforward. Again, not a perfect science, but I would probably be looking at around 98,000 for a target of this down move. But this low time frame head and shoulders could easily turn into a major local top. I've mentioned this fib extension being potentially a pretty big level, and so yeah, I'm not shorting Bitcoin. It takes a lot for me to actually short crypto or Bitcoin, but I'm because now we have options on ETFs, the like IBIT or BitX. I may take some put positions if we do get some more bearish confirmation. So yeah, that's Bitcoin. I did close out all of my Bitcoin positions, including BTBT, IBIT calls, and I think that was all I had going into the day. So let's look at the current situation. I'll switch to this. So the current portfolio the open positions I have are here, showing here. Pretty stark contrast, right, to yesterday's, which we can compare. So I had ultimately, at the end of the day, my unrealized loss is negative 21,000. I did secure a lot of profits, as I said. So we'll look at the realized profits from today, but that's where we're sitting at. Yesterday, we were sitting at this, right? We had positive almost 20,000 on the gain of the day, and then positive 30. now I pretty much flattened it to the point where our total gain and loss is 0, and we're sitting on some heat here. So looking at the closed positions, we have, I did do a lot of profit taking. One of the biggest winners of this week was QMCO. I had 2 fills in the morning to sell at the $25.80 at $30 as well. And then it continued to rocket higher. It actually halted a couple times, reached as high as $60. And I got out at 53, 52.31. I originally wanted to hold these as just long-term moon bags, but given how many losses or stop losses I was taking, I decided to just secure the profits on this one, given that it is one of the more risky positions in my portfolio, and just locked in that profit of this is almost 200%, I want to say. Yeah. So great trade there. That kind of saved the portfolio for the day. We ended up, up realizing 14,000 in profits. So can't complain about that. After a day like this, the best thing you can really ask for is, obviously you can ask for more. You can ask, you can hope for actually a profitable day if you had shorted it at the right time. But if you didn't, if you're in a mostly long portfolio exposure position, you being able to say you actually secured profits and was kind of flat on the day, that's a win in my book. So yeah, what happened? Let's see. A lot of things happened. I closed out IBIT early in the morning, thankfully. So before the whole tank, I ended up just selling the rest of my IBIT calls because of, I mean, it was essentially because of the bearishness I was seeing, and I just wanted to secure profits on that. Big Bear, I ended up selling towards the end of the day. Got a fill of 330 and 335. Yeah. Oh, sorry, that's not the right one. Yeah. Filled around up here. So we're below that now, just a little bit. But I did sell my entire Big Bear position, QUBT. This was a put that I shorted. I ended up getting out of this because it was almost at 100% profit. So you can see I shorted it at about 69 cents, and then I got out at 10 cents, got a decent amount of that, and then I went around and rolled it into $15 puts. So I rolled it up. I had $9 puts before, and then I took that cash out and ended up opening the $15 puts, and I got 25 contracts of that at about 90 cents. It's currently trading at 70, which is quite surprising. I don't think this is correct, but again, Fidelity aftermarket option pricing, they show weird prices for the last price. Next, GameStop. I just stopped myself out of this. I took the profits. It is one of the more risky positions I have. And again, yesterday I said this, I'm not getting my hopes up on GameStop. It looked ready to break out, right? But time and time again, GameStop does that where it rallies and then fails to break out. You get these daily squeezes that look great, and then it tends to roll over. Daily squeeze, it looks great, didn't fire, and then it rolled over, right? So we're getting kind of that same action here. So I just ended up closing it out, and maybe I'll get back in a little closer to 50-day maybe, or the bottom of this range. Tesla, $500 calls. I sold 3 contracts in the morning just to take profits, and thankfully I did. By the time I caught on to sell the last 4 contracts, the market already dropped, and Tesla had a huge range in today's trading session, ranged from 427 to 488. Okay, so that's like a $60 range in this candle, and I took profits around here for the first 3 contracts, and then I think I sold around here on my last 4. So took a small loss, ultimately I am up on that today. So I'm out of the 500 calls completely. Okay. Recall I did take profits on these 6 other contracts the last 2 days, I believe. ASTS, yeah, I stopped myself out of this one. Thankfully, it didn't drop too much, so it's a small loss. NVIDIA, I had these puts from Monday when I took that short. Sorry, I didn't actually realize I traded the same contract. But basically, what happened, I had this position of 20 contracts um, on Monday, and it was looking good. But today, Nvidia ended up gapping up, right? So I had it was down, and then today it gapped up here, and then I stopped myself out on this gap. Okay, took a loss ultimately, and then I came around and shorted it right around here, 136.50, which was a great entry. It was Octavius in the Discord that got me into this. He posted a pretty much a perfect entry on this short. I don't think he ended up getting it himself because he was looking for a better price, but I got in and just took a day trade. Now, in retrospect, I should have just held it, but um, I didn't. It looked actually pretty bullish, the options profile. So it did actually rally back up. I sold around here, took a quick win just to cancel out the losses from the previous trade. So I ended up being down 744. Can't complain about that, you know. NVIDIA, I ended up also opening a new position, the 130 put. It's actually the same contract. Oh my goodness. I was trading on the road, guys, so I didn't really uh, have like a full picture of everything I was doing. Um, so turns out I picked the 130 January puts 3 different times without even knowing, and that just shows some consistency, I guess. So I rebought these puts, these 130 puts at 720, right towards the end of the day. In this candle here when it rallied back up. So we'll see how that goes tomorrow. Lumen, I just closed out. I stopped myself out here. Closed it at 591. I think it's maybe bounced a little bit. No, actually 581. So good stop. Sold half my Oklo position. This, objectively speaking, I was kind of overexposed on this. So I just cut it in half, took half the loss. I still like it above the support. So the other half, I have some short calls on that, some covered call positions on that. These $23 calls, which probably will expire worthless, or I'll close out at 5 cents or 2 cents or something. But yeah, still holding the other half of the calls, 1,500 calls, or sorry, the other half of the shares, 1,500 shares. QSI, originally I cut half my position this morning at 140 just to de-risk, and then when the market kind of fell out of bed, I decided to close the whole thing out because QSI in general just hasn't been performing as one would have wanted for a quantum play. So this isn't really doing quantum stock things. So whatever the reason is, I don't know, but I decided to cut that position out. LDTC, I just got straight up stopped out. It was a 99-cent stop, but it closed me out at market. So this was a big hit. And the other big hit was BTBT. As you guys know, I've been taking heat on this all week and ended up cutting it when I cut the other positions. So those were the closed positions. Open positions, I opened an SMCI put, bought these puts towards the end of the day just to get some short exposure. So I'm looking basically for this to roll over, and it's one of the weaker stocks in this entire market, even during the bull. So if the market continues to tank, I expect it to tank hard, tank pretty hard. So the two short positions I have are the Nvidia puts and the S&P puts. This is a short put of $15. Qubit is just a monster. Went as high as 26 or $27 today. Now after market, it's still just coiling. So quantum stocks continue to be very strong. QMCO, looking at this, oh man, it actually made new highs in aftermarket, $64. I ended up selling at 52, as you know, so that's actually where we're sitting at now. Any dips, I'll probably get back in, to be honest. Ideally, if we can get a dip all the way back to the 30s, that'd be great. But I don't know. I don't know if we can expect something like that to happen. Let's see. Rocket Lab. I believe I sold that entire position yesterday. Yeah. Thankfully, I sold pretty much right at the top. And today it's fell out of bed with the rest of the market. ASTS, I held on. It was in profit, but again, I ended up selling that at a small loss. So benefited from having a good entry. I entered right around the lower range. We're right back there, and we didn't take a big loss on that. On the 4K portfolio, I sold my ACHR. I sold my ACHR at 840, 894, and then I sold my DJT also at a small loss, pretty much break even. But this was just to flatten my position, and I'm in a new position. Xena. Let's look at that. This is a drone stock. I like the breakout here in November, and then it tanked pretty much 50%. Yeah, tanked back to this 50% level I like for the fib retracement. Let me get rid of these. I got filled at, and I had a few fills, but the average fill price was 628 in my main portfolio. In Robinhood, I got filled at 682. Yeah, so we have an ASTS put right now as well. I did not close out my short puts, so I still have the short put on the ASTS and on TSLL from yesterday. Didn't close these out. It might look a little crazy on the percentage ROI, but this doesn't really mean that much. Ultimately, if TSLL expires on Friday under $32.70, I'm going to be buying these shares, about 2,000 shares. ASTS, I'll be buying about 2,000 shares at $24. If we close under, $24, which is where we are. But yeah, I'm okay with that. Can't ignore the last one. I got into ARM 150 calls at a pretty terrible time. I got in probably right around here at the top of the day. What did I like about it? I liked the weekly squeeze it's forming. Now it's back at the bottom of the range, which it would have been a much better place to enter. But alas, I did not. Top bid that one. We're still above the 200-day moving average, which I hope we stay above. But if this breaks down, I will have to take a loss on that. So we'll see how that goes. I'm gonna just put an alert here. Yeah, so taking quite a bit of heat on this. This was a larger position than I should have put, but it is what it is. Down almost 50% here. Otherwise, if you net out what we have unrealized in losses and then what we realized in gains today, it's about a $7,000. I'm down $7,000 on the day, so can't complain too much. On a day where S&P destroys about a month worth of gains. We're back to November 19th levels. You can't complain. The name of the game is to lose less when the market's losing and to gain more when the market's gaining. So I'm glad we did take decent profits all the way up to the top. So I want to look at the week. This week in general, from Monday, we're still, we've realized 48,000 in gains. So really can't complain on the week, right? Now we're just managing. We got to manage through what's going to come next. I personally think we're just going to chop for the rest of the year. Maybe we get a Santa rally. I think everyone's hoping for that, but I do think this gap might close, and we might chop a little bit higher and just end the year, somewhere around here. So that's pretty much all I had for today. Let me know if you guys have any questions or anything you guys want me to go over or just discuss in the Discord or in the comments. So thanks again. I'll see you guys tomorrow.